the Baron's Ascension. The city of Zintharian was electric, its towering spires adorned with holographic banners bearing the visage of Baron Octavian Krall. The banners flickered in the smog-heavy air, a seamless blend of propaganda and spectacle. Below, in unity, Spire Plaza, millions gathered, some in fervent support, others in fearful silence. The Baron's inauguration as Supreme Chancellor of the Dominion of Alderys was the culmination of years of manipulation, technological dominance, and fear-mongering. Dressed in his signature black and gold regalia, Octavian Krall emerged onto the grand dais, his corpulent frame supported by a gravity suspension rig that gave him an almost ethereal glide. His face, a grotesque mix of charisma and cruelty, was framed by meticulously styled gray curls. As he raised his hand, the crowd's roar grew deafening.
Citizens of Alderys.
His voice boomed, augmented by neural amplifiers implanted in the podium.
Today marks the dawn of a new era, an era of strength, unity, and dominion. Together, we shall rise above the chaos of the past and forge a future worthy of our greatness.
The plaza erupted, though not everyone cheered. At the edge of the square, concealed in the shadow of a derelict high-rise, a small group of insurgents watched in silence. Among them was Layla Voss, a former Chronicle scribe turned resistance leader. She tightened her grip on the data slate in her hand, its screen displaying damning evidence of Krall's ascent to power, evidence the world had been too blind to see. Layla's thoughts raced as she studied the scene before her. Zintharian, once a vibrant capital known for its art and innovation, had transformed under Krall's reign. Drones patrolled the skies, their lenses scanning the crowd for any sign of dissent. Towering mechs flanked the dais, their sleek black forms a stark reminder of the Baron's military might. Yet, even amidst the overwhelming display of power, Layla felt a flicker of hope. Krall's speech continued, but his tone shifted. His rhetoric grew sharper, darker.
Let it be known,
he declared, his eyes narrowing as his voice dropped to a menacing growl,
that those who dare to defy the Dominion's unity will face swift and merciless justice. The fires of rebellion will be extinguished, and their ashes will fertilize our future.
As if on cue, a massive holographic display behind him lit up with images of captured dissenters. Their faces were filled with terror as they were paraded through labor camps, their voices silenced by Krall's iron grip. The crowd's cheer faltered, replaced by an uneasy murmur. Layla's grip tightened. She knew this was no mere display. It was a message, and one she could not allow to go unanswered. Krall's path to power had been as methodical as it was ruthless. Born into the Krall Syndicate, a mega-corporation controlling everything from biomodification to energy extraction, he had leveraged his wealth to reshape Alderisian society. By funding AI advancements, he monopolized governance, deploying predictive algorithms that promised efficiency but delivered oppression. Layla had chronicled his rise during her years as a scribe for the Dominion archives, witnessing firsthand the erosion of freedoms under the guise of safety. Krall's AI providence had been his most insidious weapon. It scanned every data stream, intercepted communications, and flagged dissenters for re-education or worse. The Dominion was not always a singular entity. Once, Alderys was a collection of free cities, each governed by their own councils. Trade routes crisscrossed the continent, fostering cultural exchange and innovation. But with Krall's rise, these cities were unified by force. Zintharian became the capital, its towering spires both a symbol of progress and oppression. Resistance against Krall's rule was fragmented. Some cities held onto their defiance, their leaders working in secrecy to undermine the Baron's control. Layla recalled her time in Kalaidra, a coastal city known for its vibrant markets and universities. There, academics and engineers had created covert networks to shield their citizens from Providence. But even Kalaidra could not withstand Krall's military might. When the city fell, its libraries burned, and its brightest minds disappeared into the Reclaimer program. Krall's brutality extended even to his inner circle. Layla's contact within the Syndicate, a former advisor named Corvan, had recounted a chilling story. During a board meeting where one of Krall's generals hesitated to deploy lethal force on civilian protesters, the Baron made an example of him. Before the entire council, Krall activated the general's neural implant, overriding his motor functions. The man's screams echoed as his body contorted and collapsed, lifeless.
Hesitation breeds weakness.
Krall had said coldly.
Weakness has no place in my dominion.
The Reclaimer program was a cornerstone of Krall's reign. Initially framed as a rehabilitation initiative, it targeted political prisoners and dissenters. Through invasive surgeries and neural conditioning, individuals were transformed into emotionless enforcers, their humanity erased. Historians and bioethicists condemned the program, warning that it represented the darkest potential of biotechnology. Layla's data slate included a section on Krall's use of biomodified enforcers. These reclaimers were a grim reminder of how science, when wielded without ethics, could strip away individuality and autonomy. Beneath Unity, Spire Plaza, deep within a fortified bunker, Krall convened with his inner circle. The room was dimly lit, dominated by a holographic table projecting a map of Alderys and its surrounding territories. Baron Octavian Krall was an imposing figure, not just because of his corpulent size, but the aura of absolute control that radiated from him. His face bore the marks of calculated vanity, sharp, symmetrical features softened only by the silver curls meticulously arranged around his pale, gleaming skin. His eyes, deep-set and black as voids, were both unnerving and mesmerizing. Every movement was deliberate, as though choreographed to project dominance. His gravity suspension rig, a necessity due to his immense weight, gave him an unsettling glide, making him seem almost spectral. Krall's voice, deep and resonant, carried an undercurrent of menace that silenced even the boldest among his advisors. The slightest arch of his brow or twitch of his lips could instill fear, a testament to the ruthless discipline he demanded. Behind his polished exterior lay a brilliant but twisted mind, a man who saw humanity as a resource to be shaped, controlled, and, when necessary, discarded.
Are the preparations complete?
Krall asked, his voice calm but dripping with menace.
Yes, Supreme Chancellor,
replied General Albrecht, his cybernetic eye glowing faintly.
The Genesis Protocol is ready for deployment.
The Baron's lips curled into a grotesque smile. The Genesis Protocol was his ultimate gambit, a system designed to cleanse dissent through a combination of targeted drone strikes and neural reconditioning. It promised absolute obedience at the cost of free will.
Good,
Krall said, his tone oozing satisfaction.
Let the people of Alderys witness the birth of true order.
General Albrecht hesitated for a moment.
Supreme Chancellor, some of our analysts warn that activating the protocol in densely populated zones may lead to unintended collateral.
Krall's eyes narrowed.
Collateral is irrelevant. Order requires sacrifice. Execute the plan.
The general stiffened, but before he could respond, Krall's hand hovered over the console,
Perhaps you doubt my resolve, Albrecht.
With a flick of his fingers, he activated a neural override embedded in the general's implant. Albrecht's body convulsed violently, his face contorted in agony as he crumpled to the ground.
Let this serve as a reminder to all.
Krall said, addressing the stunned council members.
Doubt is a disease. I am the cure.
The remaining advisors nodded in silent terror, their loyalty cemented not by faith but by fear. Beyond the bunker walls, the machinery of the Genesis Protocol began to stir, its drones awakening for the Baron's grand design.